Welcome to the Insomnia Project. Sit back, relax, and listen as we have a conversation about the mundane. One thing that we can promise is that our conversation will be less than fascinating so that you can feel free to just drift off. Thank you for joining us. We hope you will listen and sleep. I'm your host, Marco Timpano.
And I'm your co-host, Nidhi Khanna. As always, you can find us on Twitter at Listen and Sleep, or please feel free to review or rate us on iTunes if you have a second. We'd love to hear from you.
Indeed. Nidhi, do you like to use a match or a lighter when you light your candles? Like, notice you got a couple of candles lit over there.
I do have a couple of candles. A couple of them are your everyday tea light, and the other candle is a bigger one, which is a scented candle. Okay. Which is scented. It's an aloe vera scented candle.
Oh, I didn't even know aloe vera had a scent.
Absolutely. So, which is interesting. I would not have thought that it would be such a pleasant smell, but okay. I received it from my dear friend Alexandra Cote, who's a realtor and actually was the one who found me this lovely apartment.
Oh, okay.
And so she gave me that candle for a housewarming gift.
Oh, that's wonderful.
And so we will have her on a subsequent episode.
Cool.
However, to get back to your question,
do you use a match or a lighter to light?
Thank you. That was a big digression from that. However, I use matches.
Okay.
I tend to use matches. I don't know why, actually. I would think that I would prefer a lighter because it would be easier, but there's something about lighting a match, I think, that's just, I don't know, romantic.
Sure.
Or, I don't know.
I just hate the smell of the sulfur when you light a match.
Oh, really? Because I like that.
Oh, do you?
Yeah.
I've never been a fan of it. And then my problem is, if you blow out if you blow out the match, it makes that smoke, that matchy smoke. So I try to always run to the kitchen and throw it in some water. And then my fear is always like,
how much smoke is coming out of your matches?
Enough that it bothers me.
Fair enough.
But I love, fire lit things. So like a candle, the look of the flame. Or do you like fireplaces?
I love fireplaces. Okay. Growing up, we had a few fireplaces, and I just love the smell and the process of putting a fire on in a fireplace.
Sure.
Having to get the wood and make sure it's lit and the paper.
Are you a good fire starter?
No, I'm not. Well, I haven't started one in forever, so I don't think I am.
Okay.
But I haven't tried it actually in a really long time. So.
Sure. But would you light your fireplaces at home?
No, because I was a kid, so it was always like my mom or my dad. But I love the smell of it.
Sure.
I love the feeling, the warmness, the coziness. There was something very relaxing about a fire, like watching it cackle.
Right. I used to have to fetch the wood to put in the fireplace.
Oh, did you?
And then I actually learned to light the fire at a young age. It was one of my responsibilities was to light the fire. I wasn't particularly great at it.
Yeah.
But I would have to light the fireplace for sure.
Wow. And have you
we had a wood burning stove, so
okay.
I don't know if you could consider. And we actually had a fireplace as well, but we would use the wood burning stove more frequently than we would the fireplace.
And would you light bonfires quite often, or?
No, I wouldn't as a kid, but we do have a fire pit at the cottage that I will often light.
Okay.
And roast marshmallows on it, or just hang around the fire pit, or we would burn. Sometimes you have to burn some of the cardboard that you accumulate, or the leaves, because at the cottage there's so many trees. We have a lot of leaves that we would burn. Even though we bag quite a few of them as well, we still burn some. I don't know if it's politically correct to burn leaves anymore.
I have no idea.
Do you remember burning leaves as a kid?
No.
I remember people like making piles and just burning them. It seems so,
I don't know if you can do that.
to do that anymore. But I remember we never did that. I can honestly say, but I remember families who would just make a leaf pile and then burn it there. And
I don't know. Yeah, because I think now you just put them as part of like compost or anything, right?
Right. You can bag them in like these kind of papery bags and they'll compost them. At least they do that here in our city. Have you ever had a bonfire on the beach?
I have had a bonfire on the beach. Yeah.
Tell me about that.
It's the best. Well, it was quite a while ago, actually. Mm-hmm. I think it was in India, where it's just like you start the bonfire, mm-hmm. people hang out on the beach. It was like in a resort or something like that, but it's beautiful. I usually, like the last bonfire I had was actually at my friend's house in England, and their backyard was like a very big, expansive backyard and lawn, and so they had like an area to make bonfires. And so I love that. I love that component of being away and in nature and the roasting of the marshmallows and all of that. It's I love the smell of it. I love the relaxation. Like I could just stare at a fire for ages and ages.
Right.
Yeah.
When you roast your marshmallow, do you like it really crisp, or do you like it just a little bit brown that you can remove the first layer of skin from it, or how do you like to? I
like it not too crisp, so I think more towards like a layer of brown, so it's a little bit caramelized.
You're not the type of person who makes a fireball by putting the marshmallow and then blowing out the fire and then eating that.
No, but I have a feeling you are.
Oh, no. I prefer... Who was it? I was recently had marshmallows. Oh, it was over at my friend Loretto's house. And I said to his son, Jack, who's now a young man, he just turned 16, and I said to him, I want a roasted marshmallow, and I want it really well roasted. And I said it half as a joke, and he brought me the perfect roasted marshmallow I've ever had in my life.
Really?
Yeah, it was perfectly brown, it was perfectly soft, it was perfectly cooked all the way through. You could tell that he rotated the marshmallow in such a manner that it was evenly cooked. And I have to say, there's quite an art to roasting marshmallows.
There's actually a whole technique behind it. I mean, you're right, you have to constantly be rotating at a certain level. And so how did you, biting into the perfect marshmallow, what was that like?
Well, what was funny was when he brought it to me, I just said, well, I don't like marshmallows, as a joke. But then I saw it, and it was like, I grabbed it, and I was like, this is fantastic. I really, really enjoyed it, I have to say.
Have you ever burnt your tongue on a roasted marshmallow?
Many times. Yeah. I don't think you can be around a bonfire and a marshmallow roasting session without at least one time in your life burning the roof of your mouth.
I have to say, I would prefer a nicely caramelized marshmallow than the actual, like, s'mores.
Okay. That's not your thing.
No, I don't know why. I would think it would be my thing, but for some reason, it's not. What do you like to have your marshmallow with? Like, is there a certain addition to the marshmallow?
Not really. I just like it on its own. I don't mind like a Rice Krispie square. You know how you merge marshmallows with Rice Krispies and make those squares.
Right. I actually, like, other than roasted marshmallows, I'm not a big fan of the marshmallow per se.
Okay. Like, that's not your thing?
No.
Like in your cereal or things like that?
No. It's not the thing that I go to. You
mentioned aloe vera earlier.
Yes.
Have you ever had the aloe vera drink, or have you ever used aloe vera on a burn or a cut, speaking of fire?
Yes, I have done both.
Okay.
The aloe vera drink is not my thing.
Okay.
To be quite honest.
Because there's chunks of like slimy.
Yeah, it just like it feels very thick.
Okay.
And not like a natural liquid.
Right.
Although I know it's supposed to be very, very good for you. And aloe vera I have used on like a cut before, like from an aloe plant.
Right.
Actually, I would like to get an aloe plant.
You don't have one?
No.
Oh, I thought that was an aloe vera plant.
That's a succulent.
Okay.
Is that the same as an aloe vera?
Well, I think an aloe vera is a succulaent, but I don't think all succulents are aloe vera, so clearly. But
yeah, I don't know. Maybe it looks like it a bit.
A little bit.
What do you think of like aloe vera juice?
Yeah, I prefer coconut water to it. If I had the choice between the two, I'd drink coconut water. It just seems a little bit weird. It seems a little bit jelly-like.
Yeah.
So, I don't know. Not my thing. But I like the look of an aloe vera plant. I think it's a really cool looking plant. And they say everyone should have an aloe vera plant in the home for just such emergencies like a burn or a cut and whatnot. And so you for those people who aren't familiar with the aloe vera plant, it kind of looks like a spiky leafed cactus. I don't know, how would you do it? Like, it's clearly a succulent,
right?
But you're supposed to break it off, and this kind of oozy liquid jelly comes out of it, and you put that directly on your burn or wound. Would you say?
Yeah, I think that would be an accurate description of it. I mean, the juice itself is like supposed to be really good for your immune system.
Oh.
And detoxifying and everything. But
I'm gonna have to give it a second chance.
Maybe. There's also aloe vera gel that you can like it's, as you were saying, kind of like the jelly form that you were just describing, but you can consume it like the gel.
Okay.
Orally.
Oh, just like that, just like the gel itself.
Yeah.
Well, there you go.
Well, I mean, I don't know if it's I don't know with the gel if they have done something to it. I don't know if it's the same gel that would just come out of the jelly of the plant, or if they've added something to it to make it less. I don't know, to make it more to be able to orally consume it, essentially.
Clearly, you don't work in an aloe vera processing plant, is what you're saying.
I'm basically saying that, exactly. Do not do anything with aloe vera based on this podcast.
So it seems like we've gone from fire to aloe vera and back again. But I wanted to ask you, Nidhi, do you cook with gas or do you cook on an electric stove?
So oddly enough, I currently cook.
And which do you prefer?
Okay.
I'm going to stop you. I'm going to stop you mid-answer to ask you another question. Sorry about that.
That's okay. So I have cooked on both in the past. Currently, I'm cooking on an electric stove. However, in the house that I grew up in, we had a gas stove, and I enjoy a gas stove because you have the ability to really control the level of heat in a different way. Like I find it's easier to cook rice, or if you're boiling things, like I think it's like the level of heat from simmer all the way to major heat is a lot more nuanced than, let's say, an electrical stove. What do you think?
You know, Nidhi, I grew up with electric stoves, and then we had the opportunity to get gas in the house.
Right.
And we're we're gonna do it. And it wasn't easy because we had to bring the gas line and we had to cut the ceiling, and it's a bit of a rigmarole. But I said to my wife, I'm like, I've always wanted to cook with gas. And they say that the food comes out tasting better when you cook with gas. Now, Nidhi, I'm one of those people that if you tell me something like that, immediately it locks in my brain, and that's what I want. For example, I was told, and so you've got to be careful when you tell me little factoids like that. I was told that if you sit in a movie theater, you should sit on the left side because we read from left to right, and therefore you get the scope of the movie better. You pick up things that you wouldn't if you sit on the right side of the theater. And so now whenever we go to the movies, I have to sit on the left side, and all my friends know that.
That's so... Do you find it actually makes a difference?
It only makes a difference to me now because if I sit on the right side, I feel uncomfortable thinking I won't enjoy the movie as much.
What about the middle, though?
The middle's fine.
Okay.
But
so the middle or left?
But my preference is the left over the middle because of that factoid. But since someone told me, things taste better when you cook on gas, we got the gas stove. And I kind of love it. I love the lighting of it. Yeah. I love the blue flame that comes from it. I love... And in particular, they said you can taste the difference with your espresso when you cook on gas and when you cook on with fire. Sorry, when you cook with gas versus electric.
And you find that that's true?
I do notice that. I do notice that there's a...
So there's also, just from a very practical sense, the cost of operating a gas stove is much cheaper than an electric stove.
Oh, really? I didn't know that.
Yeah, because you're not using the electricity, you're using the gas line.
Right, but you're still paying for the natural gas,
Well,
right?
apparently apparently
the cost
kind of offsets the setup cost of it as
Could
compared
be.
to electric. But I don't know. You would probably know that more.
I should look into that.
Yeah, you should.
I'd have to look at my bills from prior to the gas stove, but I love it. Like,
is there anything you miss about the electric stove?
it's easier to clean.
Oh, okay.
Because you don't have the pit that a gas stove has, and by pit I mean, like, there's a sort of where there's more distance and more open space between the, what would you call it, the grill plate to where the gas is.
Sure.
And so if things spill, you have to remove parts.
Everything.
It's a little bit more of a pain. That's why, those stovetop gas electric stoves that are just kind of like, they don't have the coil that a lot of electric stoves have. It's just a flat surface. Those are the easiest to clean. And my sister has that. But my sister dropped a pan or a pot on it and cracked it because it's glass. And so when you go to her house, it's like smashed almost like a phone. You know when you crack the phone, iPhones or what do you call these kind of phones? The glass phones.
Yeah. The screen.
Screen, yeah. It was cracked. It kind of looked like that, only much more dramatic because it's a stove. And I said, you've got to replace this. And she's like, yeah, I know. But she still uses it. She can still use it. And I'm like, I don't know how good this is to use. But I also find that I like how quick a gas stove will cook things. So, for example, even when you put the water on for tea,
it's much faster
than
an electrical one. Yeah, that's absolutely true. That's absolutely true.
We live in a culture obsessed with dieting, weight loss, and exercise. And that can make eating disorder behaviors easy to miss. But the reality is, eating disorders are serious mental illnesses that take a major toll on your health and your life. But recovery is possible. Eating disorders are more common than you might think. Chances are you know someone who is struggling with one. Or maybe you're struggling yourself. If you're concerned about an eating disorder in yourself or a loved one, I want to introduce you to Equip. Equip is a fully virtual, evidence-based eating disorder treatment program that helps patients achieve lasting recovery at home. Every Equip patient is matched with a multidisciplinary care team that includes a therapist, dietitian, medical provider, and mentors. And you get a personalized treatment plan that's tailored to your unique goals and challenges. Equip treats patients of all ages and all eating disorder diagnoses. It's covered by insurance, and there's no wait list. If you think that you or a loved one could be struggling with an eating disorder, don't wait to get help. Visit equip.health to learn more. That's equip.health.
To tip off this NBA season on FanDuel, you can choose your own rewards, which means you can play your game any way you want.
I get to choose my rewards?
Yep.
Great! Now, excuse me while I lock in.
All customers choose your own reward right now in the FanDuel app. 21 plus and present in select states. 18 plus in Kentucky. Opt-in required. Rewards are non-withdrawable. Restrictions apply, including bonus and token expiration, leg requirement, and max wager amount. See full terms at FanDuel.com/sportsbook. Gambling problem? Call 1-800-GAMBLER.
Is there, speaking of sort of pros and cons of different types of, well, I mean, I know we were just talking about gas and electricity, but lamps versus candles.
Oh, that's a really good question. I think, and Nidhi, I love lamps. There's something, I don't know what it is about lamps that I really kind of enjoy. So a cool lamp is like, I can really get behind it. So I would say reading to a lamp is better than reading to a candle.
Of course.
But
in terms of like the state of an ambiance when you walk into a room,
immediately you'd think candle, but there's something to be said about lighting in a room, right? And I think a lot of these decor magazines talk about that, and you should have layered light so that you have your main source of light, a couple of little lamps, and some backlight and all this. And I'm currently taking a directing course, and I'm excited and nervous about the lighting aspect of it because I just don't have a great handle on that. And I really want to because it's so imperative in film. So that's one of my big things that I'm looking forward to. But I'd say they're equally as important. Certainly a candle candles feature important roles in our lives because candles have been around much before electricity and lights. So like the birthday cake is not a cake until you put the candles on it, because then it becomes just a cake. It's just a cake. And for me, until you light the candles, that's when it becomes a birthday cake.
Fair enough. And so to illustrate a bit of the lamp versus candle dilemma, I've just turned off, because I have some candles going on here.
Right.
I've turned off the lights, and it's an afternoon, a bit of a gray afternoon.
Sure.
So how do you feel that the ambiance has changed in here?
I mean, I like it. I think your candle is a little bit distant. What I don't like is really heavy scented candles, and your candle isn't heavy scented.
Right.
Or have you ever had one of those candles that smells like apple pie or gingerbread? Those drive me crazy, because then I hunger for those items that they smell like.
Right.
So I can't have those kind of candles.
So what kind of scented candles? So for me, because I like, similar to you, more of like a subtle scent to my candles. However, I like them to actually infuse the room a bit.
Right.
Like I like the vanillas. I like the kind of odd ones too, like the fig or like these odd scents. But is there a particular scent that you gravitate towards?
I've always gravitated towards lavender.
Oh, love lavender.
Or citrus. So you could have like an orange candle or
right, like a little
candle.
fresh.
Yeah. I like beeswax candles too.
Why?
Supposedly they're great at removing negative ions from the room, or they do something like that. They're able to sort of offset a lot of the stuff we get from our electrical appliances or our computer stuff. Sorry, I didn't explain that well, but I think you know what I'm trying to say.
Like the frequencies
and all that thing.
Yeah.
And they're a natural substance, and you know how there's all this sort of talk about like not using certain wicks because they contain a carcinogen or whatnot,
really?
and there's certain candle waxes that are better than others. Supposedly the best is a beeswax candle. Okay. And they last a nice period of time, and they look pretty too. There's something about the golden color that I enjoy, so I think it's like all that wrap. And they do have a certain honeyish smell to it. Like I don't think they infuse the air with it. But if you're close to the candle, you can certainly get that, and you can certainly tell that it's a beeswax candle versus a soy or a paraffin. I don't think is it the paraffin wax that they say isn't that great?
I don't know, but what about those citronella ones that you put out on patios for mosquitoes and things? I wonder.
Well, citronella is from a plant, right? It's like a flower or some sort of like weed-like plant. I guess I should look it up, but I think they tell you not to light them in the home. You're supposed to light them outside, just like those. Wow, this really is the fire episode, isn't it? We're talking about
it is.
You know those mosquito coils? There's a mosquito coil that you kind of. It looks actually funny enough. It kind of looks like the coil of a electric stove. So it has that same sort of look. They're usually green. You light the end of it and it smokes. And I think those have citronella in it as well. And I was just watching a program where they were making them in India, go figure, and they were made with turmeric, citronella, coconut wood, I guess, mulch, and they made these coils, and they were all sort of natural, because I always thought, what chemicals are they putting in this? But this particular program that made those coils, it was all natural, so you can get all natural sort of those coils. But yeah, I don't mind the smell of citronella candles. How about you?
I don't mind it that much. I would prefer, I think, those candles. So it's funny because growing up, we had in our backyard those, they were all the rage, I think, in the 80s and early 90s, like the mosquito zappers. Do you remember those? Like they're lamps that mosquitoes would go in and
they'd zap,
which is not the best. However,
citronella looks like a weed.
It does look like a weed.
More like a weed or a grass.
But it's been it's got a bit of controversy. Like some people think it's very bad for you, and some people say it's harmless. Yeah.
Wow.
So who knows what part of the spectrum it's actually on.
Those mosquito zappers, the thing that is not great about them is that they'll often zap bugs that are not harmful.
Yeah.
And I don't mean harmful, but not mosquitoes.
Yeah,
so they
that
kill.
are part of...
Sorry about that.
That's okay.
I had to drop it right next to the microphone.
I know. As every few episodes, we need a pen drop from you, Marco.
But I used to love watching them get zapped.
I know, but there's something really
Sadistic.
horrible about
when
it.
You're a kid, you're
Yeah,
just excited
totally.
to see something go in there.
What other fire-based products do you gravitate towards? I mean,
Well, I used to have a fire, like those old school lamps. Those, you'd put some kerosene lamps.
Mm-hmm.
I had a kerosene lamp, but I was always worried about it because...
were you Sherlock Holmes?
No. A friend of mine bought it for me as a gift. I don't know why. And I was like, okay, let's use it up at the cottage. I don't know why. I'm like, we have it, we might as well use it. And it was neat because it's something that you see in movies. So you don't really have experience of having a kerosene lamp with the hurricane kind of glass on top of it.
I imagine, like, do you remember the Hardy Boys?
Sure.
Or Nancy Drew and like those old style covers that they used to have. I can just imagine you with the kerosene lamp, like on one of those covers, like kind of walking with some friends.
We would light it and just have it there, and then I was always worried because if a kerosene lamp drops on the floor, all the kerosene will catch on fire. And because there's a lot of wood at the cottage, then there it would be going, right? So we did it once or twice, and it was kind of neat, but that's it. My grandfather used to smoke a pipe. Do you know anyone who smokes those traditional pipes with tobacco?
My grandfather used to.
Okay.
And he actually used to like smoke unfiltered cigarettes, like they just used to do like hardcore tobacco.
Sure.
Yeah. Pipes.
I always found pipes to be really interesting because my grandfather used to smoke one when I was a child.
Was he Sherlock Holmes?
No, he wasn't. Or maybe he was, but no. I just remember seeing like the tobacco in the pipe kind of be lit,
yeah, it's a bit of an odd process too, right? To like get it in and pack it in and light the pipe.
Yeah. I have like a very vague memory because I must have been really young when that happened.
Have you ever smoked a pipe?
No.
No, me neither. I don't know what that would be like.
I haven't really smoked cigarettes either. That was never my thing.
No.
My dad smoked quite a bit when I was a kid, and I think back then they were telling you how bad, when I was a child, how bad it was. So it just, once again, you tell me one of these things as a small kid and it sticks in my head.
It's in your head.
Well, we hope this fire episode has not stuck in your head, but has allowed you to, at the very least, relax. We want to thank you for joining us on this particular episode.
As always, please do contact us at Listen and Sleep or find us on iTunes. Rate us, review us, let us know what you think. We are produced by Drumcast Productions and have been recording from Toronto, Canada. So until the next time, we hope that you listen and sleep